The theater lights dimmed, the audience fell silent, and before a single note was sung, Simon Cowell leaned forward with a skeptical smile. Nobody expected the soft-spoken elderly man walking slowly onto the America's Got Talent stage to change the atmosphere forever. But by the time his final note echoed across the theater, Simon Cowell was completely speechless, the judges were wiping away tears, and thousands of people were standing on their feet. What happened that night became one of the most unforgettable moments in AGT history. Stay with me until the very end because this story isn't just about music, it's about hope, humility, and proving that true greatness never fades with age. And if stories like this inspire you, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss another unforgettable journey. The backstage hallway was buzzing with nervous contestants. Singers warmed up their voices. Dancers stretched their muscles. Magicians checked their props one last time. Everyone was focused on making the biggest performance of their lives. Among all the young faces stood a gentle man in his 70s wearing a simple cream-colored blazer over a white shirt. He carried no flashy costume, no backup dancers, and no dramatic entrance. His calm smile made him look more like a grandfather attending a family gathering than someone competing on one of the world's biggest talent stages. His name was Jose Marichan. To millions across the Philippines, he wasn't just another singer. He was the soundtrack of Christmas, the voice that had comforted families for generations, and an artist whose songs had become part of countless childhood memories. But outside his homeland, many people had never heard his name. That didn't bother him. As a production assistant adjusted his microphone, she nervously asked, "Are you ready?" Jose smiled warmly. "I've been ready my whole life." Those simple words carried decades of experience. When his name was announced, the audience politely applauded. There were no deafening cheers. No screaming fans. Just curiosity. Simon Cowell glanced at the contestant card. Jose Marichan, from the Philippines. He quietly whispered to Sofia Vergara, "I don't know him." Neither did most of America. Jose slowly walked to the center of the stage. His movements were calm, graceful, and filled with quiet confidence. Terry Crews welcomed him with his trademark smile. "So Jose, tell us about yourself." Jose nodded politely. "My name is Jose Marichan. I'm from the Philippines, and music has been my companion for most of my life." "How long have you been singing?" Jose laughed softly. "Long enough to watch several generations grow up." The audience chuckled. He continued. "I've always believed that songs are not just entertainment. They're memories. They're healing. They're love." Howie Mandel smiled. "That's beautiful." Simon crossed his arms. "So why America's Got Talent?" Jose looked around the massive theater. "Because dreams don't have an expiration date." The audience immediately applauded. Simon gave a respectful nod. "I like that answer." Jose then added something that made the room even quieter. "I've spent decades singing for my country. Today, I simply wish to sing from my heart for yours." A wave of applause spread through the theater. The orchestra prepared. The first gentle piano note floated into the silence. Jose closed his eyes. Then he began singing. His voice wasn't loud. It wasn't filled with impossible high notes. It wasn't trying to impress anyone. Instead, it wrapped around every person in the room like a warm blanket on a cold evening. Every lyric sounded sincere. Every note carried years of joy, heartbreak, gratitude, and wisdom. People stopped moving. Camera operators forgot to adjust their equipment. Even backstage crew members quietly stepped closer to their monitors. Simon slowly uncrossed his arms. His expression changed. He wasn't judging anymore. He was listening. Jose's voice painted pictures. Parents remembered holding their children for the first time. Grandparents remembered long-forgotten love stories. Young couples squeezed each other's hands. The theater became filled with memories that belonged to everyone, even though each one was different.
As the song continued, Jose wasn't simply performing. He was sharing a lifetime. Flashbacks filled his own mind.
He remembered performing in tiny venues where only a few dozen people attended. He remembered writing songs late into the night while balancing work and family responsibilities. He remembered moments when success seemed impossible.
He remembered rejection. He remembered doubt.
He remembered choosing kindness over fame. Through every chapter, he had never stopped believing that music could bring people together. Those memories flowed through every note he sang.
The audience could feel it.
Halfway through the performance, something extraordinary happened. Thousands of phones remained lowered.
Nobody wanted to watch through a screen.
Everyone wanted to experience the moment with their own eyes.
Simon leaned closer to the stage. His face revealed genuine surprise. This wasn't about technical perfection.
It was something much rarer.
Authenticity.
Jose reached the emotional bridge of the song. His voice trembled ever so slightly, not from weakness, but from emotion.
That tiny imperfection somehow made the performance even more powerful.
A young woman in the audience quietly wiped away tears. Beside her, an elderly man smiled through watery eyes.
Some performances entertain. Others remind people what it means to be human. Jose was doing the second. Backstage contestants stood frozen. One whispered, "He's making everyone cry." Another nodded. "That's real talent." The final chorus arrived. Instead of becoming louder, Jose sang more gently. The entire theater leaned in. Every person became silent. Then came the final note. It wasn't explosive. It wasn't dramatic.
It simply floated into the room before fading into complete silence.
For 2 unforgettable seconds. Nobody moved. Nobody clapped. Nobody spoke.
The silence itself became part of the performance. Then the theater erupted. The audience jumped to their feet. The standing ovation seemed endless.
People shouted. They cried. They smiled. Some hugged complete strangers beside them. The judges stood together. Howie applauded enthusiastically. Melby wiped away tears.
Sophia placed her hand over her heart. Simon Cowell remained completely still.
His eyes never left Jose. When the applause finally softened, Terry asked Simon for his thoughts. For perhaps the first time in a long while, Simon struggled to find words. He looked down. He smiled. Then looked back at Jose. "You know." He paused. "I judged thousands and thousands of performances." Another pause. "But every once in a while, someone reminds me why this show exists." The audience applauded again. Simon continued. "You didn't try to impress us. You didn't rely on tricks. You simply told the truth. And somehow," he smiled, "that became unforgettable." Jose bowed respectfully. Simon shook his head. Age is often treated as a limitation. Tonight, you proved it's actually experience. The crowd exploded once more. Howie spoke next. "I've seen powerful voices. I've seen emotional performances. But what you gave us tonight was peace."
Sophia smiled through tears.
"You made this huge theater feel like home." Melby laughed softly.
"I called my mom during rehearsal today.
Now I want to call her again." Everyone laughed. Jose simply smiled. Then Terry asked a question. "What was going through your mind while singing?" Jose looked toward the audience. "I imagined every family who has ever shared a meal together. I imagined every parent waiting for a child to come home. I imagined every person who feels forgotten. And I wanted them to know. He paused. Someone is still singing for them.
Many audience members wiped away fresh tears.
Simon quietly whispered, "Wow." The voting began. One by one. Yes. Yes. Absolutely yes. For yes. The theater erupted again. Jose covered his face as emotion overwhelmed him. He wasn't crying because he had advanced.
He was crying because his message had been heard.
As confetti gently floated around the stage, Terry embraced him warmly. Backstage, contestants applauded as he walked past.
Several younger singers thanked him. One young performer admitted, "I was afraid I was too old at 35.
Jose laughed. "My friend.
The only time you're too old to dream is when you've stopped dreaming." Weeks later, clips of the performance spread across the world.
People from dozens of countries reacted emotionally. Teachers played the performance in classrooms. Families watched together after dinner. Musicians praised the honesty of the performance. Parents introduced Jose Marichan's music to their children.
Many viewers commented that they had called their parents after watching. Others said they finally believed it was never too late to pursue their own dreams. The performance became more than entertainment.
It became a reminder.
A reminder that kindness still matters.
That humility still inspires. That gentle voices can be louder than shouting. That real success isn't measured only by trophies, records, or applause. It's measured by the hearts you touch. Months later, Simon was asked in an interview which performances stayed with him long after the cameras stopped rolling.
Among the many incredible acts, he quietly mentioned Jose.
Not because of vocal acrobatics.
Not because of elaborate staging. But because authenticity is unforgettable.
Long after audiences forget impressive tricks, they remember genuine emotion.
Jose returned home to the Philippines, where crowds welcomed him with smiles, flowers, and songs. Yet he remained exactly the same humble man who had walked onto the AGT stage.
When reporters ask,